There comes a moment, subtle yet undeniable, when your reality no longer fits the shape of your soul, when the life you've constructed begins to press against you like walls that are suddenly too close, too familiar, too false. It doesn't always begin with a loud awakening. Sometimes it starts with the quiet exhaustion of pretending you're okay, a slow noticing, a silent rebellion from deep within. You look around and everything seems normal, but it isn't. Not anymore. Your skin doesn't fit the same. Your thoughts feel like borrowed voices. The smile you wear feels like a mask crafted in a different lifetime. That's not depression. That's not failure. That's a frequency mismatch. Your inner world is evolving, and what used to feel safe, what used to work, what used to hold meaning, now feels hollow. Not because something is broken, but because something is being born. And in that in between, in that stretch between old self and true self, the illusions start to glitch. People begin to feel see through. Conversations become echoes. Even your own routines seem like someone else is acting them out. You haven't lost your way. You've just begun to see the map. This moment, though uncomfortable, is sacred. Because what collapses now was never meant to last. And what emerges now was always hidden in your field, waiting for you to feel it. This isn't burnout. It's the soul breaking the shell. And when the shell breaks, everything that isn't real falls with it. Most people don't recognize it when it starts because it's disguised as ordinary fatigue, a sense of being off, scattered, distant. But what's really happening is energetic dissonance. Your external reality is vibrating at a frequency that no longer matches your internal code. And that friction, you feel it in your body. Your sleep gets strange. Your appetite changes. You can't tolerate surface level conversations anymore. The small talk makes your skin crawl. And somewhere in the middle of all this, you begin questioning everything. Why do I do what I do? Why do I show up this way? Who told me I had to stay quiet? When did I forget how to feel? These aren't just thoughts. They're triggers, soul-level catalysts pulling you towards something more authentic, something ancient, something true. It's a recalibration of identity, not the mask you wear, but the essence underneath. And it's not just about remembering who you are. It's about recognizing all the false versions of you that were built to survive a system that never saw you. When the energy field shifts, so does the architecture of your life. And that means people will leave, paths will close, identities will dissolve, not as punishment, but as protection. The version of you that's emerging doesn't need what the old you clung to. The new frequency demands space, silence, sovereignty. You may feel lost right now, but that's only because the coordinates are changing. You're not losing your life, you're leaving the simulation. And soon, the real path will begin to glow beneath your feet. You were never meant to fit into the old structures. That's why they drained you. That's why every time you tried to make them work, something inside you fractured. Because they were never designed for who you're becoming. They were designed to keep you asleep. The fatigue you feel now isn't from doing too much. It's from holding back who you really are. You've outgrown the systems, the narratives, the outdated templates of success, worth, identity. And now your field is breaking the agreement, quietly but powerfully. You're no longer available for manipulation masquerading as love, for productivity being mistaken as value, for spiritual bypassing dressed up as positivity. You're done pretending, and the field knows it. This collapse? It's sacred. It's not chaos, it's reformation. Not destruction, but divine interruption. Every time you feel like giving up, remember, it's not because you're weak. It's because your energy is refusing to play by false rules. You're not falling apart. You're falling through the veil. Through the expectations that never belonged to you. Through the identities you borrowed just to be accepted. Through the lies you were fed so you'd stay small. This is what it feels like when your soul takes the wheel. It's disorienting, disruptive, sometimes devastating, but also finally real. So if it hurts, good. It means you're not numb anymore. Let the false frequencies collapse. You were made to hold a new signal, one that only activates when you're done pretending. And you're done now. The shift you're going through is not linear. It won't follow a timeline. It won't match anyone else's version of healing. Because this is not healing in the traditional sense. It's a frequency departure, a magnetic release from the old field, and an entrance into the original blueprint of who you really are. You're not just changing your habits, you're changing your gravitational center. The people falling away, the goals that no longer make sense, the silence between your thoughts getting louder, it's all the field recalibrating. When your field upgrades, your life must respond. And it doesn't always respond with ease. It often begins with dismantling what you thought you needed, what you thought you wanted, even what you thought you were. It's not punishment, it's precision. You asked for alignment, remember? And alignment doesn't ask for permission. It arrives, it clears, it reorganizes. This is why the discomfort feels personal. But it's not about your mind, it's about your field. The electromagnetic memory of your essence is discharging all that is incompatible with your current signal. You are releasing lifetimes. You are restoring truth. You are remembering power. And that's why you feel heavy, then light, then numb, then alive. Over and over again. This isn't mood swings. This is dimensional exfoliation. Old versions of you are shedding like frequencies that no longer resonate with the cosmic chord you're tuning into. You're not unstable. You're just uncompressed, no longer folded into who the world told you to be. So breathe, pause, and let your energy speak louder than your fear. Because this part of the journey, it's where the artificial dies and the authentic begins. There's a moment right before the true you reemerges, when everything seems void. You can't quite remember who you were, and you don't yet know who you are becoming. That's not confusion. That's creation. You are standing in the most sacred space of all, the in-between. The quantum pause, the 0 point of your becoming. And in this space, your nervous system may panic. It's looking for something familiar to grab onto, an identity, a routine, a feeling of normal. But none of those exist here anymore, because you're not here to normalize. You're here to alchemize. In this space, control loses its grip, strategy falls apart, and all that remains is your frequency. That's what guides you now. Not logic, not consensus, not even memory. You might feel like nothing is happening. You might look around and think you've regressed, but energy is never idle. Consciousness is always in motion. Behind the scenes, your frequency is recalibrating your external reality, clearing contracts, collapsing outdated identities, unplugging you from simulations that once looked like safety. And that takes everything you've got. This is why you're tired. Not from effort, but from expansion. When your field expands faster than your mind can comprehend, your system interprets it as fatigue, confusion, or even despair. But beneath that surface noise, something miraculous is occurring. Your light is taking command. You're no longer looking for answers outside of you. You're not asking others for permission to shine. You're letting silence become your ally and presence your home, because you've realized something. All this time, it was never about fixing yourself. It was about remembering that you were never broken. So when you feel the pressure mounting, when the old starts begging to return, when you're tempted to shrink back into the simulation, let that be your reminder. You're not falling apart. You're falling through, into a version of you that was waiting just beyond the veil. This part of the journey doesn't have a map. There are no milestones, no trophies, no applause from the outside world. Because what you're doing now can't be seen by eyes that are still asleep. This isn't about doing more. It's about being more. And that begins with being nothing at all, long enough for the truth to finally land. So here's the truth. You are not behind. You are not off track. You are not broken, late, or failing. You are standing at the edge of a life that's been waiting for your frequency to match its timeline. And it's not that you need to raise your vibration by force or push through your pain. No. That was the old way, the programmed path. What's being asked now is something far more profound: alignment through surrender. Can you trust what's unfolding, even when you can't name it yet? Can you stay open while the simulation screams at you to close down? Can you let go of who you were without rushing to define who you must become? If you can, you'll feel it, a stillness that doesn't come from escaping the world, but from no longer being ruled by it. Because now you're learning to live from your field, not your fear. And this field, when unblocked, becomes your interface with truth itself. It lets you sense what isn't said, hear what isn't spoken, and know what others forgot long ago. In this field, there are no masks, no roles, no illusions. There is only presence, power, and a light that doesn't burn out when the world goes dark. So if this message found you in the middle of confusion, contraction, or fatigue, Know this. It wasn't a setback, it was an upgrade. You weren't breaking down, you were breaking open. And if you're still here, still listening, still reading, then something in you is ready to lead. Not with force, not with noise, but with frequency, with coherence, with the quiet knowing that your very existence is the signal. The veil is lifting, and you are the shift.